Okay, good, it's working. I certainly don't remember what the hell I was doing, other than the fact that I got exalted with the Darnassus. Looks so weird when it's not stretched out like that.
Fuck. Where is the... Where is it? Give me a second, guys.
I can't really do these anymore.
Okay, is this it? Yeah.
Andrew Tate's... No, that is misogyny.
Why?
Being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
Okay, that's what I was doing.
That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that...
I'm pretty sure I did some of this already, though.
Was that it?
Could be wrong.
Look at that. So they didn't say it. Or sorry, he didn't say it. Keep going.
However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No.
So was that it?
Andrew Tate's... No, that is misogyny.
Why?
Being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that...
Listen, so was that it? Look at that. So they didn't say it. Or sorry, he didn't say it. Keep going.
However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Okay, so he did say that. But I guess, yeah, it didn't really make sense that he was mediating for a conversation whenever you didn't hear actually what conversation it was. Okay, that was originally in there. Okay, yeah, I didn't remember. I don't remember hearing that.
The world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a conversation.
They have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation.
They're not allowed to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with me.
But is that the kind of world for women that you...
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
You're using that as the excuse for why you're...
I think I don't live in a country where that happens is very different than what do I believe. I find that is a... I think that is a deliberate use of language. Yeah.
You're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an excuse.
Is that there are parts of the world where this is fine.
My friend.
So my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where...
You don't think it's fine?
The reason
This isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say, Piers, you know what?
Yeah.
With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't said it like that. And if a 26-year-old...
No, I don't think... What's wrong with him saying it like that if he's just explaining it in a debate? I don't think there's anything wrong with him saying it if he's just presenting the information to somebody else.
Exalted.
Why would he apologize for that? Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
...was watching... I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist, and even though that's a view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share. Now, I would respect you more if you said that, than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think
that doesn't tell me what you think.
Then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable...
Is that a truth? Then?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about. It's not a truth I created.
Hang on. You're doing it again. What do you mean that's a truth in other parts of the world?
That's what it absolutely is. I don't even know why Piers is trying to get him to restate this. Like, it's absolutely a truth in parts of the world that guys want girls that are virgins. Are we really debating this? It's in the fucking Bible. Like,
Osmogold's right here.
Why are we having this debate? It's fucking obvious. Yeah,
He's right here.
Give me one. I have to get a cookie, and by a cookie I mean 2 cookies. I'll be right back. Is that back in the day, my mom said that the phrase that guys would use is to find a girl young and raise her up right whenever they're looking for a girlfriend or a wife. Mm-hmm. Yep. True, bar, yeah. That's what they think. Alright. You Americans are disgusting. I guarantee you, the person saying that, probably the age of consent in their country is probably lower than ours. There's a good fucking chance. Mm-hmm. Sorry about that. I had to have a cookie.
What you said is not. You're not talking about another part of the world. You're talking about what you believe is the difference between 18 and 90-year-olds and 26-year-olds.
I was talking about
It's your belief.
I was talking about what the people on the panel believe the difference is.
So what do you think the difference is?
I think the difference is age.
What's the difference then?
Well, then a 26-year-old's older than a 19-year-old.
And so you stand by what you said about talking to the guys, being to the club more times, being effed and dumped more times.
Well,
you believe that or not?
No, there's plenty of 26-year-old women who have been with one man or virgins,
Right.
of course.
So you don't believe that?
I don't think that the age is the only thing that's going to decipher how many men or women.
Right, so if you don't actually believe
That's true. That's definitely true.
what you said, just say sorry.
It's not about.
And also, you want to talk about 27. Go and look at the age that here. Let me see if I can find the chart
Oh,
here.
fuck.
Yeah. Here we go. And so this is a chart. And I apologize for
I can't
the
alt
color,
tab in Burning Crusade. It
but
takes way too
this
fucking long to alt
is,
tab in and out.
This is a, very, very common chart that's used. Woman's age versus the age of men who looks the best to her. So, obviously 20 is 23, and, there we go, and
Where'd the
it's
road
20,
go?
23, 29, 30, 34, 35,
Oh.
etc. And then we have a man's age versus the age of women who look best to him. 20 is 20, 21 is 20, 28 is also 20, 35 is 20, and keep in mind, the ages probably started at 20. They didn't start at 18. And so we go down to 42, it's 20, 44, 21. Back down to 40, back to 46, well now we're back down to 20. 47, 20. 49, 20, and it never goes over 25. You don't see 26 or 27 on this list anywhere, okay? So actually what Andrew Tate is saying, there's a chart. There's a fucking chart. It says it. Regardless of whatever you want to say. Leonardo, yes. This is scientific research that was paid for by Leonardo DiCaprio. Yes, exactly.
Believing what I'm saying. It's about you understanding that there's large conversations going on.
I'm just reading back stuff you
I'm gonna
said.
have to try to
I'm asking
remember
you, do
my,
you believe it?
I believe that it's more likely a 26-year-old's had more partners than a 19-year-old.
You don't know that.
I don't know that. You're right.
In fact, there could be absolutely no evidence for that.
That is such a dumb thing for Pierce to say. It's clearly more fucking likely that somebody who is older and has spent, you know, 7 or 8 years in their adult life or 10 years.
I'm gonna
in
have
their
to try to
adult
remember
life
my
going
spell
on
rotation
average have
here.
more partners than somebody who spent 1.
Whatsoever.
Completely agree.
So why say it? Why stigmatize all 26-year-old women?
It's not about, we're repeating ourselves here.
Well, not really. I'm just trying to get to what you actually believe.
I believe that men find youth attractive in general. I believe that in the context of the conversation.
25-year-old women aren't old.
I agree with you, they're not. Especially I'm old.
Where's 25? Somebody find 25 on the list over there. Somebody find 25. It's not on there? That's crazy.
I'm a lot older than that. The point I was making was part of mediating a panel, a conversation between feminists and some Muslim guys.
I get it.
Okay,
I get it.
good.
But
So you
weren't-
understand why I said the sentence.
But as far as I know, you weren't espousing what a Muslim man might think. You were espousing what you think.
I was espousing what the people on the panel believe.
But you were saying what you think.
I feel like you're trying to pin me down.
If it's not what you believe,
These two things are being mixed together too much, and it's very confusing. Because there's one thing that Andrew Tate is saying, and that's the quote, and that's something that he said on a panel that was phrasing something to somebody else. And then also Andrew Tate is saying that men find youth attractive, which it would seem like these two things are the same, but technically in this conversation, they're two different things. This is very hard to follow.
just say...
This is the type of thing that somebody who doesn't like Andrew Tate will think that he's losing on, and somebody who does like Andrew Tate will think that he's winning on.
I don't believe that.
Because it's hard to follow.
What part wouldn't I believe?
Well, you tell me which part you don't believe. There's the sentence. Which part would you now say you don't believe?
I believe that 25-year-old women perhaps have had, because they've been alive longer, maybe have had more partners, but I don't believe that makes them a bad person.
Right. But you understand that the way you phrased it makes it...
It was not about being a bad person. It was about being attractive or being appealing to the opposite sex. Being a bad person is, again, I don't know why he does this. Is he will restate what somebody says slightly different that means something else.
Every 25-year-old
I understand.
feel a bad person.
No, I don't think so.
Of course you do. You're not stupid. Come on.
Piers.
Actually, you're not stupid. You know what that sounds like to any 25, 26-year-old woman.
Completely. And you're
Right? So you have maligned every 25, 26-year-old woman with that statement. And I'm simply asking you, to all those who are not of the type of women that you've described here, are you sorry?
I don't want anybody to be offended by anything I say. I want to be a positive force in the world. I don't want anybody to hear what I say and make them feel bad about themselves. I want all people to live righteous and good, whether they're male or female. And anybody who...
You lead a righteous life?
I think I do, yeah.
Good. You boasted openly of having 6, 7 partners at once. So is that righteous? I'm not taking there's no moral view from me. Simply asking you what you think righteous means.
I think righteous is living true to your heart and knowing that you're doing good by people, not snaking anybody, not lying to anybody. I know I live a very righteous life.
Have you ever been in love?
I mean, I feel like you can't say that you're being and doing right for people whenever he has some of the sales pitches for the Hustlers University and this kind of stuff. This, 100 tips that are going to make you money right now, right off the bat with like business. I find that to be very misleading, and I don't think that really stands any sort of litmus test at all. Like, this is not an authentic thing. It's not true. It is misleading. I don't like it.
Yeah. How many times?
Oh, this is working out. Alicia should be on melee attacks against chance
How many
to
times
charge
did you
your
say?
fresh spells for. Oh,
Enough.
okay.
I
So I
believe
just
men and
heal a
women
fuck ton.
are a
That's fine.
beautiful union. I think we're slightly different, but when we work together, we're the most powerful force in the world.
How many women have you loved?
I don't know, Pierce. A few.
Give me a ballpark. 5, 10, 20?
Let's say
You don't forget how many people you've been in love with.
Let's say 10. I mean, I've been in love, and I certainly believe that men and women, when they work together, it's the most beautiful force on the planet. I believe in family. I believe in children. I believe in...
If you believe in family and children and love, why are you single?
I'm not single.
Well, you're not married, something.
Well, if I was married, the last thing I would do is advertise it to the feral psychopaths on the internet. So
I'm not a feral psychopath.
No, you can't say that, Piers. You can't fucking say that. Because the feral psychopaths on the internet, they might not be you, but they're watching you. And they're waiting for him to say that. Yeah, I think that's, that is definitely not, I mean, I don't know why he's saying that. I mean, obviously, this is not a private conversation.
Well, that
You called me friend earlier.
can be debated, Piers. But the point I'm making as a whole is that all of these.
Do you want to get married? Is my point.
No, but let's please for a second.
don't or you do?
Let's please for a second, because you've interrupted me so many times I've failed to.
Well, I've only interrupted you, just to be clear, when you've actually answered a different question.
Cool. Well, then on all these points you're
And you've
making,
admitted that.
If he had interrupted him on the amount of times that he answered a different question, Piers would have interrupted him even more than he did interrupt him. I think Piers is actually not doing a very good job trying to like fucking laser down on some of the ways that he's using language to obfuscate what he means.
on all these points you're making on repeat, you're taking these sentences on repeat. You're using you're weaponizing them against me.
I'm not weaponizing anything.
Okay, it's fine.
No,
The
you're
point-
weaponizing the weaponizing, which
No
doesn't
problem.
exist.
No problem.
You said to me, come on, bring it on, read out all the things that you think are blatant misogyny. All I've done is literally read out all the things we identified from all the research that I thought were blatantly misogynist, and
Understood.
giving you the chance to respond. And the only time I've interrupted you is when you've tried to answer a completely different question.
Understood, Pierce.
And he has. Like, I think that Pierce has probably interrupted him whenever he shouldn't have interrupted him. I feel like that's definitely fucking true. But there have been a lot of times, let's be fair to Pierce, there have been a lot of times where Andrew Tate gets asked a question and he answers a different question. This is 100% happened in this interview.
But these things were said in large context, where often I'm talking about how, for example, on the same podcast where you've read one of them sentences from, I was talking about how it's a man's duty to die by a woman. And the guy asked me, he said, if 10 men with knives attacked your woman, wouldn't you just... I said, yeah, I'd stand and die. I'd never just run away, because I have a duty as a man. I must die on the spot to protect her honor and my honor.
I love how, like, with some of these guys, they pretend like real life is like a fucking all or nothing Rust
unless you
server.
wanted to get salmonella.
Like it's a massive all or nothing Rust server. Like shit's going fucking crazy, etc. Like it's like, yeah, there's gonna be 10 guys, bro. What happens if 10 guys randomly show up with knives and they want to stab your wife? Fuck, man. Like, what happens if I go downstairs and there's a velociraptor in the living room?
I'm talking about a man having responsibility to his duties. I'm talking about the old traditional ways of masculinity. And what happens is, a few sentences from such a long conversation is taken and used against
I understand that.
So I want you to understand that I'm talking about protecting and providing for women. I'm talking about a man making
Do you
sure
want to
a
get
woman-
married?
No, but we have to all feed into each other, Pierce. I'm talking about
It's
protecting.
not a hard question.
No, but I'm talking about protecting and providing for a woman. I'm talking about a man being responsible for her safety.
I understand.
So of course I believe in men and women. Of course I believe in love. Of course I believe in marriage. Of course I believe in family.
No, but none
The
of that was
idea
my
that I
question.
don't believe in
Andrew,
the idea that I don't believe in these things
I
is
didn't ask
crazy.
you if you believed in it. I asked you if you were going to get married.
One day, absolutely.
You'd like to.
If I'm not married already, I will be married one day. If I'm not,
Or you might be secretly married.
I could be married. Correct.
Why would you not tell me either way?
Why would I
The
advertise?
reason why he wouldn't say why he's married or not is that being married means that your name is on some form of public documentation. That's why he's not saying it. And the reason why he's being careful of that is the reason why, basically, so why he got, and this is kind of external from like whether or not he was actually doing human trafficking or not. Human sex trafficking. I'm not sure if he was or not, but
I'm probably gonna switch to my tank here.
Story is that he got swatted. He used that word. So it's very clear that he is savvy to these kinds of things, and in being savvy to those kinds of things, he would also know that the marriage certificate and the documentation of the marriage would also be public record that he would want to avoid to keep a potential wife out of the line of fire. So, yes, this is the actual reason. I think.
It's to the feral psychopaths of the world who have tried their very best to destroy me for an opinion about my private life and the things that are most sacred to me.
Which is, you think if you said you were married, everyone would hate you?
I don't know about people hate me. It's about me understanding that I'm a hard target, but I am very, very protective of the people I care about.
Right. But you believe in the concept of marriage?
Completely. That's what we were talking about the whole time.
What do you think?
We talked about a man giving a woman away.
Okay.
I believe in marriage more than anybody. In
here's
fact,
my-
I believe in marriage in, no, please.
Okay.
I believe in marriage in the traditional sense. I believe a man has a duty to stand up and be a real man. I believe that the problem with the world today that we are facing is that not enough men are sticking to the age-old ways of masculinity. I believe that me standing up and saying a man must protect a woman and provide for her, so he needs to make sure that she's safe. He needs a degree of authority.
Let me
to
make
protect her.
sure I'm not
No,
wasting
no,
my
you-
time
I'm not
coming in
about being
here.
authority over a woman, but I am generally a traditionalist with this kind of stuff as well. I don't think that it's a bad thing.
We do have a problem with it.
I'm not- sorry,
and that's the world we're in now.
I'm over here.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't have a problem with what you just said. Here's where my problem comes, right? There are a lot of clips of you floating around on the internet, as you know. One of them has you saying, bang out the machete, boom in her face, grip her by the neck, shut up, bitch. In another, you say, slap, slap, grab, choke, shut up, bitch, sex.
That sounds really bad. Like, I'm gonna say, like, that sounds really, really bad whenever Piers reads it off of the sheet of paper. Look at his face. You know, here we go.
When people see those clips and hear you say
Misunderstand
those
them.
things,
Agreed.
well, I don't think that it's not hard to misunderstand it.
It is.
You might say that it's consensual. Other people would say, whether it's consensual or not, that's a very ugly way to talk about women.
No, I completely disagree with it with it being ugly if it's consensual. A lot of people like humiliation. That's like the fendom like fucking thing.
Okay,
there
I am
are
wasting my
many
time
fetishes
coming in
and
here.
many people that like this kind of stuff, and if it's completely consensual, there's nothing disgusting about it at all. This is things that are being done between two consenting adults.
Now let's
Hitting
watch.
them with machetes.
It's weird.
No,
Yes.
watch the whole
I
video.
think it
It's a
is.
girl coming at me with a machete and me saying, here, slap the machete out of her hand.
I
She's
understand.
attacking me.
I
So you don't
understand.
understand. This is the exact point.
do
The
understand.
No, people don't watch them in full. And this is actually what's interesting. And please don't interrupt me on this point. Social media has changed in modern times. YouTube 5 years ago was 5, 6, 7, 8 minute long videos. Now we have TikTok, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, YouTube shorts, Instagram stories. Now anything you produce that's long form is cut down to very, very short form. They're interested in clicks, they're interested in engagement.
Of course.
They find
But
the
you
most
benefited from all
they
that.
find the most controversial clips.
I
they
think that him benefiting from that does not necessarily mean that it is untrue, and it also does not necessarily mean that he can't also be maligned by it as well. I think this is a very bad statement, bad thing to say by Piers. I think that's dumb. You know, you can't make a live by the sword, die by the sword argument on this, because this is something that's also done outside of his control. A lot of the people that are posting Andrew Tate clips are not Andrew Tate. I do think that he's right about this, and in many cases, obviously this is one of the biggest criticisms streamers have with LSF, is that whenever a clip goes on LSF, sometimes the context behind the clip is missing, and it makes a person look better or worse than what they originally were.
can
And Andrew,
on purpose.
You benefited from all that.
Everybody benefits from social media views, as do you.
Was it the Hustler? What is it
I had an
called?
online school,
Called?
Hustlers University.
Right. And their whole job was to promote your clips, make you rich and famous. So you benefited from this system, the one you now profess to hate. You benefited from
I
all
never
that.
said I hate
Well,
it.
I don't think that's fair for him to say that, because there's no instance of Andrew Tate saying to only upload the clips or anything like that. So this is not really that great of an argument, and I think honestly this entire point is a waste of time. Of if it's beneficial for him or if this is true or not. Yeah, I think this is just a complete waste of time to talk about this.
They did like the best of them.
I never said I hated it. I'm saying what happened. I don't hate it. I don't hate social media. I think it's a very powerful force. I don't hate the social media. I'm saying
The point is, I think you can talk. Look, you can talk to girlfriends of yours, maybe a secret wife. I don't know. It's entirely up
or
to you.
two.
or 2. Maybe you've got 10 wives. That's your business. I don't care, right? My only thing is, I don't care what you do in private. If it's consensual between you and another woman, you can do what you like, right? It's your life. I believe in freedom and liberty. It's when you say it in public, it's the influence that this kind of thing has on young men.
Agreed.
Right? And I speak to someone with 3 sons, right? Who are, by the way, they're intrigued by you. They're fascinated, right? You're a big thing in that world of TikTok and so on. So they all are aware of you and what you say. So they're all looking. And when they see things like the machete thing, I get the context because I'm a 57-year-old guy who's been around the block a bit, and I can get what you've said and you responding to a particular scenario which you'd created.
I don't think that it is like, to a certain degree, I do not think, and this is always a gray area, so I can't really write out a fucking 10 commandments of when decision is not true. But I do think that to a certain degree, you are not responsible for people taking you out of context intentionally to misrepresent you. I don't think that Andrew Tate or I or Hassan or Destiny or XQC or any of these guys, I don't think anybody is responsible. Donald Trump, Piers Morgan, I don't think any of them are responsible for whenever their words are taken out of context intentionally and used to misrepresent a person. Because you can do that to anybody. You can say that to anybody. And then to say that, oh, well, you can make it to where that doesn't happen. No, you can't. No, you can't. After hours and hours and years of conversations, no, you can't. There's always going to be something that sounds bad in like a very, very close element. Right? A very small amount, sorry. Yeah, Dr. K out of context. That's a great example.
Where a woman...
But it can be misunderstood.
I understand. So my point to you is, given that you know it can be misunderstood, do you regret saying things like this on camera where it can be disseminated by less intelligent young males who think that is actually what they should be doing to women?
And
I think that it's also, and this is the gray area that I was saying. Somebody says, if your rhetoric can easily be interpreted in bad ways, you should probably clarify your positions very clearly at some point, though. I totally agree with that, and that's what I was saying. There's a gray area. And the reason by that, what I mean is that if everybody is just constantly misunderstanding that you always seem to mean this one thing, but you constantly say, oh, that's just not what I mean, bro, everybody knows what you mean. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way I feel. But also, if people are constantly trying to misrepresent you and taking something that you're saying 180 degrees out of context, that's also not your responsibility either.
Finally, we get to the point of the issue, which is the point I tried to make at the very beginning. When I made a video before I was famous that got 500 views, me being concerned that 1% of people will misunderstand it was not relevant. Where you start getting 5 million views a video, 50 million views a video, 1% of people misunderstanding
doesn't change what
no, it doesn't, but it becomes a much larger problem.
I understand.
So with great fame comes great responsibility.
Right.
So
I agree.
Would I, now that I'm famous,
yes.
do I say things the same way as I did back before I was famous? Absolutely not.
Right.
As neither would you or nearly any other famous person on the planet.
So
once you become famous, you have to be a lot more careful with how you say things.
I understand. So my logical follow-up to that remains, do you regret then saying it the way you said it?
I can't live in regret by saying something before I was famous on a camera which barely anybody watched, and then I became famous afterwards. That would be a...
I think a better way to say it is, do you wish that it didn't happen? Because I am also a person that lives with zero regrets. I have no regrets for basically anything in my life, and I view that every single thing that I have done, for better or for worse, has led me to the position that I am in now, and I am happy and lucky to be in a position that I'm in now, and I can't go back and change
Wonderful.
things. So yes, I feel the same way.
very asinine way to view the world.
So
I can't live in.
So you stand by all those things?
I can't live in regret because I didn't know I was going to become the most famous man on the planet. That regret would be the wrong word. Is it inconvenient? Sure, but I can't sit here and say I wish I knew 6 years ago I'd be the most famous man on the planet and monitored all of my speech forever. That's asinine.
See, but one of the problems that people have with you is that they think you have a malevolent influence on young people. This was the excuse that was put out by the big tech companies.
Excuse being the key word.
Well, it may be, actually.
And I do think that if you want to make it a very easy, understandable thing, I will say that I think that Andrew Tate's content has increased hostilities towards women. I absolutely think so. that just straight up, like, I think that more men have used his content as either an excuse or a reason to be more hostile towards women. Now, I'm not saying this is a 100% it is not a 100%, what's the word for this? This is not a condemnation of him. But I do think that in general, it has been a net increase in negativity towards women. More than any other right winger. And well, that's kind of what I'm saying, right? Are people disagreeing with this? Do you think that Greek is hostile towards women? Yes. Absolutely. It's not even a question. Absolutely he is. He's normalized. Yeah, 100%. Basing the whole takeoff of Greek. No, I'm not. I'm not basing the whole takeoff of Greek. I'm just saying in general, this is what I believe. This is what I think.
You know, I intrinsically I have a problem with censorship. I don't think Donald Trump should be banned from Twitter, for example.
Oh, I've been using the wrong one this whole time. That's why I'm out of it.
Remains on Twitter and other social media platforms, and whatever I think of you, you're not the Ayatollah of Iran, right? So to me, there's got to be perspective here, and I don't understand the inconsistency by what companies like Twitter, how they treat the leader of Iran.
You have to understand that the consistency is based completely off of how profitable somebody is or is not. The reality is that, you know, these companies are not going to pull advertising out of Twitter because some guy in Iran is an asshole. But they might do that if Donald Trump or Andrew Tate is on the platform. And then also what ends up happening is that whenever one platform bans someone, then everybody goes and asks, why is the other platform not banning this person? I think this is, again, another just basically cause and effect. You know, you go down the line of just capitalism, basically, like people just doing it for money. It's really just for money. This is not about values. It's for money.
And someone like you seems to be they're much more draconian with people like you than they are with people who perhaps should not be allowed platforms. But generally, I don't really agree with no platform. But I think what's interesting in talking to you is it seems to me like you have gone on a bit of a journey of self-awareness about some of the stuff you said in the past, and you have said you wouldn't say it again in the same way. Now, you may not want to express regret for it, but it shows me that at the very least, you have evolved to somebody who recognizes that these can be quite damaging in the way that you said them.
Completely. As a professional and as an adult, it would be stupid for me to sit here and say that now that I'm the most famous man on the planet, my words do not have more impact than they did before. With impact, with power comes responsibility, and things need to be worded in a very careful way. Now, when I do a long format interview, I have to sit there and consciously understand that any 10 seconds of that can be cut and used against me. So I have to be a lot more careful with how I say my words and how I construct my sentences. Of course, we agree with all of that. That's exactly what's happened to me. I agree with all of that. I don't want to be seen as a negative influence in the world. I know that there's a whole bunch of men. I get thousands of emails a week from men whose lives I've saved. I get thousands of emails a week from men who are on the verge of suicide and I've saved their lives. We're talking about...
And by the way, I don't dispute that at all. You have almost certainly, I would think, from everything I've read about you, I think you have certainly been probably able to be very helpful to young men who have really struggled for self-confidence and all that kind of thing, right?
Completely.
I'm completely prepared to accept that. But there was also, I think, quite a disturbing piece that BuzzFeed did. And it talked about the negative impact of
I'm gonna go ahead and just do this
minds when they've read or seen,
because I don't need the expensive one.
Things you've said. And they quoted,
I think that using kids taking things in the wrong way, and this is kind of what I was getting at in general, is that I think that to a degree, there are a lot of things that you can show people online that will cause them to do dumb things. It's kind of like a good example of this is a lot of the TikTok trends and a lot of the TikTok challenges. Some of the TikTok challenges are self-harm, and they're just popularized and they're fed to kids constantly. So I think this absolutely does happen. And I don't think that it's always the fault of even the content itself. People even make challenges based off of movies and TV shows because something happens on a movie or a TV show and then they just try to repeat it themselves. You know, whether it's Tide Pod, Cinnamon Challenge, or Cinnamon Challenge not really gonna hurt you, but you know, things like that.
For example, Sandy, 22 from Austin. My father was gone from a man who minored in women's studies in college, who was kind and in touch with his emotions, treated all people, men and women around him, with kindness, to a man who says that whenever he sees an effeminate male stranger, he gets an overwhelming urge to murder them. He loves podcasts. He listens to a lot of podcasts. I know he's listened to Andrew Tate.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's stop for a second.
That's so unfair to blame it on Andrew Tate. Man, like, that girl, did he say if he was divorced from, you know, her mom? I don't know. I think we're leaving out a lot of details. Yeah, and I think this part is very unfair by peers. And this is what I said originally, right? Is that this is the part that I think Andrew Tate, when at least the part that I saw, really needs to push back on, because it's completely unfair to let him characterize this like random like fucking asshole as an outcome of his content. Now, I think his content could have contributed to it, but let's be honest, it was not the only reason.
Professional. Real professional athlete.
Yeah.
First she said, did you say that my father went? She said, my father has
Her father.
That's a full-grown man. First, so we're talking about my impact on children. You just talked about full-grown man here. Secondly, I've never talked about murdering effeminate men in anything online ever, in any context ever. So I don't know why.
You ever just like load up a save and completely wonder what the fuck you were even doing?
An adult and come to their own
That's
conclusions
just,
they've never met.
that's where I'm at right now with this action
bar.
bar.
On every level. I didn't.
He's right. He's totally right about that. Absolutely, completely fucking right.
I didn't read this BuzzFeed. I didn't read this BuzzFeed article, but after hearing the first point, I know it's trash. That is complete garbage.
I think that it's trash too. I would agree with that. I think that the moment, this is what I've said before with articles, is that as soon as you read an article and you see one inconsistency or one thing that's misleading, I just assume everything else in the article is bullshit too. Like, that's just generally what I do. And so, yeah, if like it's very clear that this person who wrote it is reaching to draw
Let me redo this.
The reason this man
I think this actually needs to be
quote
number
from
2.
you, and you can tell me what you feel here about this.
Sure.
You talk about people don't want to see men dressed up in dresses. Transgender.
That's
people.
not exactly what I said.
What did you say?
I said the reason I am so popular and I'm so famous is that there's a large contingent of men who don't want to wear makeup, who still want to make.
You know what? Actually, no. I think what I need to do is I need to match up with what I have on the other one, so I don't.
What do you think of transgender people?
That's nothing to do with me. I'm not transgender, and I don't understand the issue like they do. They
Are you transphobic? Do you consider yourself that?
Transphobic? What? Afraid?
Well, it kind of, yeah. You have
I don't live in fear, my friend. I have no problem.
Do you have a dislike of transgender people?
I don't know any transgender people.
Do you have a dislike of what they stand for, what they are?
No. Why would I?
I don't know.
That's not my issue. That's not my issue. And that's actually quite interesting because when I was attacked, a lot of these.
Why would he give a fuck? Like, if I was to say, like, I will say that that is like a 100% W response from that is a Tate W, as a certified Tate W response. That is exactly what he should have said in that situation. I would have. If I was in my right mind in that same situation, I would want to say the same thing.
Stupid articles like BuzzFeed because it's ridiculous. That first point proves anyone with a brain knows that that's garbage.
Yeah, it is.
When they attacked me, they lump a whole bunch of things in together. They say misogynistic, racist, transphobic. They just put them all together at random. I'm mixed race.
By the way,
I don't know where they get these. They just get these buzzwords and put them in a sentence.
By the way, I completely agree.
It's crazy.
And I've had the same thing done to me.
Okay.
And I'm not calling you anything. I'm asking you what
Piers has had this same shit happen to him. I've watched not watched articles. I've read articles and seen videos of him talking about this subject too.
Personally believe you are.
It's not an issue I discuss. What I do discuss is that.
So you support transgender people?
I support individual liberty. I'm a libertarian.
Yeah. So you support transgender people?
Sure. Why not?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but my point is, as a whole.
So, there was a person in chat, and I want to respond to this comment. Just because obviously it's, I think this is going to be something that people might bring up or might say, and I think I'm just going to respond to it right now. Is that somebody said in chat, I feel like you're going to lose some fans after the stream I'm in. I think that if I will lose fans from giving somebody a fair shake and listening to what they say and being actually balanced about it, fuck them. Because I don't think, have I been fair? I think I have been extremely fair about this. I have shit on Andrew, I've shit on Piers, based off of what they're saying. I think I have been as fair as I can possibly be. And being fair doesn't mean just shitting on the person regardless. No, I will not. I will. Good riddance. If somebody wants me to just categorically demonize every single thing that a person says and throw out any sense of critical thinking or nuance, good fucking riddance. It's the same reason why I said the original cut version of this interview made Andrew Tate look absolutely fucking awful, and it did. And I think that he didn't do a really good job defending himself in this situation. But there are other parts of this 1 hour interview where he does do a good job defending himself, and this instance is one of them. If this is upsetting for you, that's too bad. I hate Tate, and I think you're being fair. People saying I left Lamau. It's okay, man. Yeah, yeah, it's totally fine. All I'm saying is that no, I'm not an advocate for Andrew Tate. I think that there's a lot of things you said. I think they're very bad, and I think that you could say that these things have rational things, but I do think that overall, he has probably contributed to more negative.
Oh, look, another one
towards women than he needed to. No, I absolutely think so.
You're saying that I'm saying I don't want to see men in dresses. I'm saying no.
You support gay people?
Sure. I'm saying there's
I hate that kind of a question. That's the kind of question like, do you beat your wife? Are you a racist? Do you have problems with black people? I hate the questions because
I don't support gay people.
It puts the question in the mind of the viewer. It's kind of like it's patronizing and bad. I hate those questions. They're very, very bad. Yeah, are you a racist?
Large contingent of men in the world who like the idea.
I mean, I guess I support them in a way by telling them to read the Bible and repent, but I don't, you know, support the sin if that's what is being asked.
First blood, how many times? Like probably like fucking 50 times. Like, I mean, abso-fucking-lutely, man. Yeah.
And making a bunch of money and
nothing at all.
Absolutely, and those are the people who are my fans. But
the problem is, okay, I'm going to interrupt you just to say this. No.
Okay, but you're saying that I have a problem with men in dresses. I'm saying no. The people who watch my content.
Answer that question. You've answered.
Yeah, but the people who watch my content don't want to see men in dresses. Clearly, I don't wear a dress. That's the point I'm making.
Why they're watching your content.
No,
I find that to be a very bad argument. I think that's weird because men in dresses and stuff like that. I don't like this. I think this is
getting hit.
A weird way of putting it. It's like, it's one thing to say that that's not the kind of stuff.
I haven't did this Paladin in like forever. I have no idea what buttons to push other than I might pay attention and hit righteous defense.
Wearing a dress.
Playing a mage and playing a paladin or tank paladin are two totally different fucking things.
Perhaps the YouTube algorithm's trying to feed them.
I think there are lots of. Look, when you support masculinity and masculine traits.
So what Andrew Tate just implied is that the YouTube algorithm is trying to feed them men in dresses intentionally, right? This is what he's saying that the algorithm is weaponized.
I haven't gotten any men in dresses on my recommended.
He's not directly saying that, and you know, if he could say that that's not what he meant, kind of have a good argument that's not what he meant, but I think that is kind of what he meant.
See, I think I'm doing a really bad job at tanking, but my group is doing such a good job of damage that it almost doesn't even matter.
Responsible with her safety?
Yeah.
Cool, absolutely. So if that woman wanted to walk alone
I don't think I have authority over the woman as we do that.
Okay, so let me ask you another question.
He keeps bringing that up.
Let's say your woman decided she wanted to take a nice little walk through the south side of Chicago at 2 a.m. and she wanted you to go with her, and you were responsible for fighting and dying on the spot. She was attacked. Don't you think you would say to her, no, we're not going out right now, it's not safe?
Yes.
Okay, so you'd have authority to make the decision. So
no, I wouldn't. So I would say I don't think you should. If she decides to, it's her own belief.
Well, if she decides, you're not going to stop her.
I have no power to stop her.
Completely.
But you think you do.
No, I don't think I have power to stop her. You clearly do. No, I think I have power to make the decision.
I don't know why.
Oh, that was a good pop on my back just now.
Yeah, I don't know why he's trying to lead that into like, but you think you do.
Suddenly I lose feeling in my feet.
Yeah, it's Tate's implying it. I don't know. I don't really think was he.
I'm out of mana. That's why I'm sucking right now.
I mean, you could make the argument, like you could make the argument
Entirely why I'm
he's
sucking.
implying it if you look at the context of like other things that he's said in the past. But I think if you look at the
Part of me
context
thinks
of
Holy
this
Paladins
interview,
would be better at tanking than Proc Paladins.
I think no.
But then again, it's two totally different versions of the game. I played Holy Paladin and Wrath, and I'm playing a Proc Paladin and TBC. Two totally different classes.
Like, this is absolute dog shit. Like, I hope Andrew Tate fucking interrupts him here. And this is the kind of stuff where it might seem like, oh, it's good to be calm and composed and to do this kind of stuff. I totally fucking disagree with that. I think that if somebody cuts you off, rephrases what you said in a complete fucking 180 behind what you said before, that is absolute dog shit, and you need to assert yourself. That is, I think this is not only a masculine thing, but this is just something that you should do. And let's be honest, if Piers did this to fucking, I don't care, I use Alex Jones as an example, but if Piers Morgan did that to Barack Obama wouldn't let that fly either. Okay, like nobody who's very good at presenting themselves and being in the public eye would let this happen.
Really think through what you're saying.
I think through what I'm saying
Because
so carefully.
Yeah, but Andrew, what you've literally just said is that you have the power to stop
No,
her.
I said I don't have the power to stop her. I'm not going to lock her in the room. I'm saying that.
So she wants to go
Completely.
but you think you do.
No, I don't think I have power
You
to stop her.
clearly do.
No, I think I have power to make the decision. I think, no, that's not
So
sensible.
if you have the power to make the decision, you have the power to stop her.
No, because
And that's where we differ. That's why I think it's interesting about you. I don't think you really think through.
This is again a semantics thing. Making the decision that it's not that's not something you should do. Like somebody can make a decision that they don't want to wear a seatbelt, but they still have to wear a seatbelt. Or they can make a decision that they don't like wearing seatbelts, but they continue wearing seatbelts because they're the law. Like I find that this is a weird way of having a conversation. It's a poor use of the language, yeah.
I should probably start using the raid icons here.
Through what you're saying.
I think through what I'm saying so carefully.
Yeah, but Andrew, what you've literally just said is that you have the power to stop her.
No, I said I don't have the power to stop her. I'm not going to lock her in the room. I'm saying that.
So if she wants to go on her own,
then she's going to go.
Then
but
you
as
don't
a
have authority to stop her.
Okay, but as a couple, if we're going to sit there and decide if we're going to take this.
You asked me, would I feel a sense of responsibility for her safety? Absolutely.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
So
would
let me
I
finish,
have the
Piers.
power or authority to stop her doing it? No.
No, of course not. So let me finish, Piers. You're not going to stop her walking out the hotel. Of course, it's her decision. She's a sovereign individual. My point is that usually in a couple, people you sit there as a team and you discuss. Perhaps on certain issues, the woman will know more about X and she'll decide X, and the man might know more about Y and he'll decide Y. So I'm saying if we're as a couple and we're sitting there and deciding as a couple, as a team, and she says she wants to take this late night stroll, I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to veto this one. I'm going to call veto.
Do you believe in...
It's dangerous,
right.
which to a degree would give me, in that particular scenario, a degree of authority. If she said, I don't want to listen to you, Andrew.
It doesn't give you authority.
If she says, I don't want to listen to you, Andrew, I want to...
Well, no. That doesn't... I think it does give you authority. If she is ceding the authority to you, then it does give you authority. Yeah, this is mind-numbing. Yeah, I find it like this is just like, this is word play. There's a lot of word play with this. It's just... I don't think that Andrew Tate is necessarily in the wrong here. I think this entire conversation is... Like, this whole thing is like, stupid. Because Piers is putting words in his mouth. Andrew Tate is saying that's not what he means. It's just weird.
go on that walk, then what can I do? Say, well, then
Then you don't have authority.
Then I wish you the best, my love.
Then you don't have authority.
Cool. Then it's a semantic argument.
Not really.
I think
It's the complete opposite of what you said you had, which was authority.
No problem, Piers. No problem. But I think
Let
we
me ask
actually
you about.
The authority, I think that whenever you're in a relationship with somebody else, part of being in a relationship is ceding some degree of authority over to that other person. Whether for that other person to, again, make decisions on how you interact with the opposite sex, for that person to sometimes make financial decisions with you whenever you're married because your funds are connected. You clearly do cede authority to that other person, but the way that that authority is exercised is what's in question. And again, how fucking nuanced is that? Like, it's like, again, it's just like these little fucking granular points that people are getting into and trying to fucking argue about. To be realistic, no rational woman's stupid enough to put herself in danger like that. They're depicting it's all theoretically fake. Well, I think that there are instances where guys feel like a girl is going to go to like a party or something like that. How many times have you ever had like a girlfriend go to a party or do something that you felt like might be unsafe for her to do? I know my parents have felt that way with me whenever I've, gone out to, I didn't necessarily tell my mom that, we're going to go to Eric drug dealer's house for the New Year's Eve party. I think there are many times where this would work. Yeah, of course.
What do you believe about depression? Do you believe depression is a real thing?
I believe that feeling depressed is real. I don't believe depression as a clinical disease.
Really? You don't believe people can be clinically depressed?
I think PTSD is very real. Unfortunately, I have some friends who suffer from that. I know that feeling depressed is real.
I think that's dumb. Like, okay, well, listen to what it says.
I believe that the number one power you have against these things are trying to take control of your own mind and affecting your own life. I believe that is not healthy.
I think that that is to a degree true. There are chemical imbalances in somebody's brain and in people's brains, and sometimes that holds them back. But I do think that you have to work with, it's many times with a lot of this kind of stuff, and this is like what my experience is, and this is, I'm not a doctor, by the way, so, I'm not going to state that this is true, but what I've seen in my experience is that even if you do take certain types of medicine or things like that, it has to also come with a willingness to change and a effort to change a mindset. It has to be both.
To hand over all your power and believe that depression is an outside disease that you can't affect. I know that when I've had difficult periods...
I don't know about that. I think that there are, and again, I am not a scientist, but my understanding on the science is that some depression is caused from literal chemical imbalances in the brain. Now, you can make the argument that those chemical imbalances can be fixed in natural ways, but you can also say that, I don't know that. Bullshit? I don't know if it's bullshit. I feel like the human brain is pretty fucking complex. I would assume that it's true, actually.
My life and also many of my friends, like I said, suffer from PTSD and been through terrible things. I've lived a very difficult life, and I know people who have. That the things that made them feel better is when they woke up and said, you know what, I'm not going to allow this to damage me anymore. I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to get up and I'm going to fight this as hard as I can.
And by the way, on that, I agree.
So we agree.
My favorite speech that Rocky Balboa.
Okay, so then we agree. No, we didn't.
Here's where we don't agree.
Cheers.
You don't. No, hang on. You've got to let me interject when I don't agree with you, right? Where I don't agree with you is that there's no such thing as clinical depression. There absolutely is.
Well,
it's a proven scientific medical reality. There's a different argument about have we gone a bit too soft, right, in schools and all the rest of it. Absolutely. Yeah. Do I think some
This is something that, like, as I said, I am not a scientist. I got a C in chemistry, okay? There's a reason why I didn't go around and talk a whole lot about the COVID vaccine and COVID in general whenever it happened. I don't fucking know anything about this shit, right? I think that it's plausible to assume that there are things that could be affected in the brain that are chemical imbalances. I think it just makes sense.
We'll moan and whine too much about their lot in life. Definitely.
Okay.
Are we a victimhood society? 100%.
Okay.
Is there such a thing as clinical depression? Absolutely.
So if
and my argument is that if you actually bracket everybody who's not clinically depressed,
I think one problem with fucking society is we have two people up here that aren't scientists that are debating whether something that is clinical, aka scientifically backed, is real or not. Seems a little fucking stupid to me.
doesn't have the genuine medical condition, then actually if millions of people are deemed to have depression, the ones who really need the help don't get it. Well, that's my point.
Well, that I would agree with. You're right. I think it's certainly an overused term.
But you don't accept there is such a thing as clinical depression.
No, I don't.
And that to me is a damaging view.
Okay. Well, let me explain why. If someone comes to me and says I'm clinically depressed or I feel very, very sad, I would say the first thing you need to do is stop accepting the identity of a clinically depressed person. Stop accepting you have no control over this. And what you need to do is stop identifying that way, and let's work together to try and fight against it.
There isn't an eminent doctor.
I think that to a certain degree, there are people that are able to work against it to an extent. Because it's probably like, it's the percentage and how much harder or easier it could be to work against it if you have the drugs. But again, now it's...
I'm getting off for the night.
...about clinical diagnoses that don't...
I'm going to level this guy to 45, and then I'll go back to my mage to 50, and I'll keep alternating back and forth until I get to...
Yeah, it's a bell curve situation, yeah.
60, I guess, because at that point, that's when I would get make a Death Knight and Wrath.
I think
double that 60.
I think Johan Hari wrote a book saying exactly
Except
that.
leveling to 60 is a bitch in vanilla, if I recall
I
correctly.
said depression
we'll
was real
see.
long ago and was attacked for it. Then Johan Hari wrote a book which actually...
Anyway, I gotta go eat dinner, and then I'm probably gonna go to bed because I gotta work at 2:45 in the morning. So,
I think these two things are very different.
those that are watching, have a good
Wrote
night.
proving me right. Most people...
Johan Hari's a